You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. The RTM will be convened for a special meeting on Wednesday, July 26, 2023, at 7 p.m. at Fire Headquarters, 45 North Main Street, to consider and act upon the following matters. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Representative Everson?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Marianne Amore, the temporary secretary.
I'll second that.
Clerk.
Motion on the floor to appoint Marianne Moray as temporary secretary has been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, Marianne?
Okay, I guess we'll begin with the calling of the roll.
Yeah, item number 1, roll call. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
That's okay.
Mr. Alphone.
Here.
Ms. Amore. Here. Ms. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Barron. Not here. Mr. Black.
Here.
Mr. Bonenberger.
Here.
Mr. Brooks. Mr. Conklin. Ms. Erlanger.
Here.
Ms. Everson.
Here.
Mr. Flanagan.
Present.
Mr. Greenberg. Ms. Greenberg, sorry.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
Mr. Henschel. Ms. Hesse.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hines.
Here.
Mr. Ingraham.
Here.
Ms. Leach. No. Ms. Maresca.
Here.
Mr. Nupine.
Here.
Mr. Preet.
Yes.
Mr. Riccio.
Not yet.
Not yet?
We're just waiting on it.
Okay. Mr. Shrestha.
Here.
Ms. Sires.
Present.
Mr. Stepanik.
Yes.
Absent. Mr. Sullivan. No. Ms. Torelli. No. Mr. Toohill.
Present.
Ms. Verderami.
Here.
And Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Okay, so let's count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 18 present. We have a quorum.
Okay, we have 4. Thank you.
I'll call ex officios for Selectman Cosgrove, Selectman Higgins, Selectman Dunbar, Town Clerk Arpin,
Here.
Treasurer Conklin, Attorney Anaskevich. Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on to item 2, to consider and if appropriate, approve an agreement by and between the town of Branford and Teamsters Local 443 Public Works Highway employees to June 30th, 2027, as ratified on June 29, 2023. Representative Shrestha.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The Public Services Committee met on July 6th and heard a presentation from Branford's HR Director on this contract, and the committee voted unanimously 4-0 to approve, and I put that approval in the form of a motion for the full RTM to approve. This is a 4-year contract negotiated with and already approved by the union. Most of the changes to the prior contract simply codify procedures already in place. The highlight of the most interest is the wage adjustments. Wage increases effectively July 1st, 2023, 2.25%. July 1st, 2024, 2.25%, July 1st, 2025, 2.5%, July 1st, 2026, 2.25%. Our HR Director, Margaret Lubrera, is here to answer any of your questions. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
So Representative Zareska, would you like to put a form of a motion?
Yes.
Yes, I have already requested. Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion to approve this contract? Hearing none?
No.
Representative Frank Emerson. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I was going to, through you, ask a question of the First Selectman, but he's not present tonight. But one thing I would like to point out is that this Public Works, our hardworking Public Works Department, is the only town department that does not have its own building, has not had its own building. When the First Selectman first ran over a decade ago, one of his pledges was to build a Public Works building or get a building and have a full-time Public Works director, neither of which we have in this town. That's not to say that Public Works is not being run well. I commend the department. However, I think that it's time. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. A yes vote is you're in favor of the contract, a no vote is you're against. The clerk will now call the roll call.
Okay. Representative Alfone.
Yes.
Representative Amore, yes. Representative Anderson.
Yes.
Representative Black.
Yes.
Representative Bonenberger.
Yes.
Representative Erlinger.
Yes.
Representative Everson.
Yes.
Representative Greenberg.
Yes.
Representative Healy.
Yes.
Representative Hines.
Yes.
Representative Ingraham.
Yes.
Representative Maresca.
Yes.
Representative Nupani.
Yes.
Representative Shrestha.
Yes.
Representative, whoops. Representative Sires.
Yes.
Representative Toohill.
Yes.
Representative Verderami.
Yes.
And that's it. So it's a unanimous yes vote.
Okay. The contract has been approved and passed. And the Selectman Cosgrove just came in as for attendance.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to item 3, to consider and appropriate to establish a Harbor Management Commission as set forth in GCS Section 22A 113K. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Rules and ordinances did meet on this. We don't have a draft ordinance to discuss at this time, so the vote from the committee was to re-refer, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to re-refer this item. Is there any discussion on the re-referral of the item? Hearing none, all those in favor of re-referring signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The item is re-referred. Moving on to item 4, to consider and if appropriate, approve an acceptance of a parcel of land located at 210 Pine Orchard Road. The property is in a landlocked parcel located adjacent to the town-owned Young's Pond parcel. Representative Anderson.
We were not able to meet to discuss this, so through you, I would like to waive Rule 441.
A motion on the floor to waive Rule 441. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Representative Verderami.
Yep.
Any
Got it.
discussion on the waiving of Rule 441? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The item is waived. Representative Anderson, go ahead.
This is a land acceptance parcel of land at 210 Pine Orchard Road. It was heard through the First Selectmen's Committee and it passed unanimously. It is an adjacent piece of property that is next to Young's Pond, and the taxpayer would like to give it back to the town as open space for everyone to use, and I put that in a form of a motion to accept this property.
Motion to accept the property, is there a second?
I'll make the second.
Second by Representative Ingraham. Any discussion on the item? Representative Toohill.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think that everyone should vote for this. It's a great piece of property. It's, as we just heard from the chairman of the committee, this property is adjacent to the Young's Pond property, which I believe was a gift to the town about 1973, I think, from the A.M. Young Company. And I believe this is about an acre. And, please, this is a great gift. Let's accept it. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The item passes. Item number 5, to consider inappropriate to establish a fair rent commission as required by state statute. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ways and Means met on this last month too, and we did approve a draft ordinance, but that was the vote of the committee was to recommend approval. Since reviewed that ordinance as it came back from the town attorney, there is at least some discrepancy with the state statute. So I moved to amend the committee report to re-refer this ordinance. Thank you.
Motion to amend the committee report to re-refer. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
May I just, Mr. Moderator, for
Yep.
you? Just, you mentioned that it was reviewed of Ways and Means, but I think you meant Rules and
Oh,
Ordinances.
I stand corrected, thank you. I was with Ways and Means way too long, and Rules and Ordinances for the record on the folks out there in TV land. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The item is amended, and now we have a motion to approve the item as amended, the main motion as amended. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Anna Mori? Okay. Okay.
So it doesn't really need.
Well, you got it. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Okay, item is re-referred. Moving on to item 6, to consider and appropriate revised to the solid waste ordinance to align it with the new contract going into effect July 1, 2023. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, Rules and Ordinances met on this last month. We have a proposed ordinance that's been reviewed by the town attorney. It was drafted and constructed primarily by the sustainability manager and the Solid Waste Commission, and this is really just to make some changes to our ordinance to bring our ordinance in line with the present contract. So the committee report was to recommend approval of that ordinance, and I put that in the form of a motion. Thank you.
Any discussion on the approval of the change to the ordinance? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The item passes. Moving on to item 7, to consider and if appropriate, approve a recommendation from the Board of Fire Commissioners to earmark town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a future fire station project. Representative Shrestha.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, the Public Service Committee meeting on July 6th, we heard a presentation from Chief Mahoney, as to the suitability of property located at 32 Acorn Road, already owned by the town, for a future fire station project, and the desire to earmark said property for that purpose. The committee voted unanimously 4-0 to approve the request, and I would put that in the form of a motion. We emphasize that this action does not commit any future Board of Selectmen or RTM to this project. It simply expresses our support of the Branford Fire Department to address their future needs. I don't see any representative from Fire Department and to fill your question. So thank you.
So I'm understanding then your motion is to approve?
Yeah, I have already requested.
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion on the approval of the item? Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just to be clear that this is a possible future fire station, we haven't had any discussion. There's been very little before town boards other than, I know this has been kicking around since this fire station was built as an idea. I would make a motion to amend the statement coming out from this body that we reserve town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a possible fire station project, to make sure that we're not approving the fire station project. My understanding is that the fire commissioner said this would be a good location for it, and most of all, they don't want the town to sell it or use it for something else without, making sure that we're not going to need it for the fire station. So again, it would be to reserve town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a possible fire station project. That would be my amendment to the committee report. I'll look for a second.
And seconded by Representative Ingraham. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment to the main motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the amendment passes. Now we'll vote on the main motion as amended. Representative Toohill.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This idea was extensively discussed at a recent Board of Selectmen meeting. Chief Mahoney was present, and this is an example of good government, long-range planning. I believe there's been a need for some kind of a fire station out there, the east side of town, Stony Creek, and up along the Branford town line, Route 1 up there, for quite some time. And it was explained to the Board of Selectmen that this was taken by the town for taxes. So, there was no cost to the town for this, to own this property. And the other thing was that it's all been cleaned up. There was a lot of pollution problem, I believe, there. It was considered a polluted brownfield, and it's all been taken care of by the town. It's all cleaned up. It's all ready to go. So I think this is a good idea, and we should vote for it. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Representative Omori.
Mr. Moderator, just a question. Peter, you're basically changing the one word from future to possible, is that right?
I'd struck the whole, you strike the approve the recommendation, but the Board of Fire Commissioners, but just to, in the earmark, if you want to just strike, what I'd said was reserve town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a possible fire
So
station.
you're changing two words, essentially.
Well, you can strike the whole part, and to reserve town-owned property. So I'm striking Board of Fire Commissioners to earmark, but to reserve. Earmark kind of says it's.
Could you read the sentence as you intended? Okay.
To reserve town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a possible fire station project.
Okay. The sentence begins how? Let me read it back as way I think. To consider and if appropriate, approve,
Well, you can, we're not considering it, we're going to, I guess we could say approve reserving, town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a possible fire station project.
okay, so we're not considering something that's come to us?
Well, we've always,
That's a
that's
change
the,
from what you had said before, I think.
Right.
That's a change from what we had approved. I thought we were
Yeah.
approving everything but the change of those two words.
Reserve and possible,
Reserve, earmark to be replaced with reserve.
reserve.
And future to be replaced with possible. The rest of that sentence, you
I-
didn't say is to strike.
frankly, the most important thing is, I think, to strike future and insert possible.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So the whole
I think
thing as it
that's
stands-
clear.
Yeah, it's just
I
two
mean-
words.
It's just two words.
If you change two words, that's exactly what you want.
But the point is that it is changing the recommendation that came from the
Okay.
Board of
Right.
Fire Commissioners. So that's the issue with the
Okay.
way that the wording is coming to us.
Right. I mean, I struck the whole, what I read, I struck the Board of Fire Commissioners. I mean, they obviously, they want to go through with the fire station project. I want to make sure that we're just reserving the property, that there's a whole lot of discussion still to be had on a fire station and using that. My understanding from what I've heard is that the biggest concern is that we might sell that property or possibly use it for something else. So we're, whether you say reserve or earmark, but it's a possible, so it would be the RTM moves to approve or approves reserving or earmarking town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a future.
So Representative Black, so for clarifications for the clerk here,
You can
give us
read it
the
back.
actual wording, the way you would like to.
Okay. The RTM reserves town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a possible fire station project.
Okay,
Is there any objection from anybody on the floor? I mean, I know it's, I think we all understand the spirit, and I understand the clerk needs to get the wording
words, yeah.
right, and I thank Representative Everson for, this is not exactly the way the Board of Fire Commissioners want it. They want to push us a little further than I think we're ready to go at this time. Thank you.
I have a question,
Yeah.
not about the language, because I think you've clarified it,
Yeah.
but does it require anything to go back to the fire commissioners?
No,
Okay.
no. And frankly, any sale of that property would have to come through us, but I think to some extent, if the Board of Selectmen on their own decided they wanted to put a playground there or something, it's really saying the Board of Selectmen would have to come to us. We wouldn't necessarily be alienated, but we're saying, at the request of the fire commissioners, before we do anything else with this particular piece of property, let's make sure that we don't need it for a fire station. Because right now, if we're going to build a fire station, from what I understand, it's a good place to put it to serve an underserved section of town.
Everybody clear with that now?
I'm going to read back
Sure.
one sentence, okay? I've added one word, which is hereby.
Sure.
The RTM hereby reserves the town-owned property located at 32 Acorn Road for a possible fire station project.
Great.
Okay.
I love it. Thank you.
Should have started.
Okay. Any further
So
discussion
moved.
on the item? Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The item passes. Item 8, adjournment. Is a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Representative Anderson, is there a second?
Anderson.
Representative Healy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Brantford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.